whatever you want to call it, or whatever they've done. I totally. They should. Their name should come up.
Yeah, they should.
They've worked their asses off building this game. They deserve to say, look, we've made this. At the end of the day, if you then go and see that logo somewhere else, you think, oh well, I played that, and that was really good.
But the problem is, in game, right? A lot of I can't think of too many examples. Fight Night Champion and your sports games and your racing games are really good examples. However, I really disagree, actually. It's not that I just don't think. I really disagree. I've paid 40 quid for your game, right? They've got the goal to throw advertising in game. I've been on racing games, and I've seen advertising for Vodafone.
I've seen on a racing game that the kids have been playing, you've had Coca-Cola, you'd have Gillette, the razors and the shaving cream and all that kind of box. And I'm just sat there going, but he's 6.
Yeah, it doesn't...
I don't know many people that are our age or around our age. We're both 18. I don't know many people above or below that play racing games now.
No, it's a younger genre.
It is. So what the fuck is a kid going to do with Gillette?
There's the odd pro... Well, my point is Ash, your stepdad, sits and watches them sometimes. He's not a gamer. Is he being advertised to? But the point is, you've paid 40 quid for this game. I don't want advertising in it.
No, it's a weird one. But at the end of the day, we're never going to get a choice.
No, we're not.
It's just another gripe, but how it doesn't really affect your gameplay too much.
Which brings us again back round to value of games. What is the precedent for games? Now, I appreciate certain genres should have longer games than others. I mean, if you play an RPG...
And it's only 4 hours long.
Well, I was going to say, if it's they say a good first-person shooter has an 8 to 10 hours storyline. I'm not going to go into proper numbers. But if an RPG was 8 to 10 hours long, you would sit there and go, what the fuck?
An RPG needs to be a good, long game. You've worked your ass off, so when you get to the end and you're at the final boss fight, you're sat there going, right, I'm level 100 now, or 99, and once I defeat this fucking beast of darkness, or whatever it is you're taking on, it's usually some kind of beast of darkness.
Something dark, isn't it?
That's your phone.
Carry on speaking, yeah.
You sat there going, yeah, alright, I've prepared for this. I've got to save at that point in the game, so if I haven't quite properly prepared for this, I can revert back, which I've done on multiple occasions, especially if it's a party-based game. You save, well before the battle, and obviously save beforehand, but you have separate save files. You save well before the battle. You go in with one party. Dragon Age, for example, Dragon Age 2, taking on the Arashock. Second time round, for some reason, I think I did have it on normal though, which was a bit stupid to begin with. Taking on the Arashock, I failed twice, and I thought, right, come back out. I went all the way back, and I went and spent a fuck ton of money. Shit, I spent nearly all the money I had. I upgraded my armour, I upgraded everybody's weapons, because you can't upgrade the armour, your party's armour, because you have to... It's a bit complicated, that. But I upgraded everything we had, and everyone had decent weapons, and then I rearranged my entire party. I took in people that I'd never even bothered with. I took in a warrior that I'd never even used.
But it makes you explore every avenue the game's throwing at you.
Exactly. An RPG.
An RPG should be like that. Now, my point is let's just say 10 hours is a precedent, right? A racing game that's 10 hours long, that's really short. A racing game should have ultimate replayability. First-person shooter, that's fine to be 10 hours long. Now, I'm not just saying they should be shorter games. RPGs, that's terrible if they're 10 hours long. Strategy games, they should be a lot longer. Now, that just goes to show, just there off the top, everybody, whether they know it or not, has a rough idea of what a game should have in it. Now, games aren't getting shorter. But the amount of money that's being made in games, surely they should be priced accordingly. To a degree. Maybe that's just a point. I can't say I agree with that, but maybe it's like...
Yeah, but that's surely saying that the first-person shooter should be cheaper than an RPG.
Well, for example...
Which I wouldn't agree with, because I'm not a big first-person shooter person. I don't particularly like first-person. I prefer third-person. It gives you a much... But I'm not, at the same time, I don't like playing strategy. I don't like pausing my game and sitting there and going, right, you go over there, you go over there, you go over there. You use that spell, you use that attack, you disappear and go around the back. And you stand back and watch and wait, and you heal him because he's going to die, and then once you've done that, I don't like it. I prefer to be sat there in the middle going, fuck it, right?
Which instantly goes to show every gamer has different strategies. I mean, I personally, well, I'll come into that in a sec, but my point is that games, I mean, I don't know, I don't make professional games. I'd love to, but I don't.
We don't make games full stop.
No, I don't make professional games. I don't make games. But I have a rough idea how the system works. Now, can somebody tell me, surely you have to put more out... I mean, Skyrim, I can quote you numbers. The game, if you went for every storyline, will take you 200 to 300 hours. And that's quoted from an outside source, not in-game.
Granted, it's a bit of a wide 200 to 300. It basically said it could either be 299 hours or it could be 201 hours. Either way, you are practically guaranteed 200 hours.
Let's say 200 hours as a rule of thumb, right? 200 hours of gameplay. You can't tell me that it takes the same amount of effort to get 200 hours out of Skyrim as it does to get
10 hours.
4 hours out of Homefront. That's an example.
Yeah.
I know somebody. In fact, I watched a playthrough and it took him 4.5 hours. Right?
Which is outrageous.
It took him 4.5 hours to complete Homefront, which is a linear game, as in there's no choices. You are the character you are told to be, and you're going to go down this road at this point in time. This lighting will happen then. When you step through this door, it's going to be scripted, and it is a scripted game because he got attacked by about 5 enemies, stepped out of the area, and they all died because he'd gone through the area. He'd gone through the area. It's all scripted, right? How is that fair when you've got 4 hours for... And it's got multiplayer, I'll give you that. But that's not an excuse. And a multiplayer is an excuse to say that this
We'll get on to multiplayer afterwards.
My point...
I am having that wrong.
I know. My point is they must have gone, to justify the money, they must have gone, oh, well, multiplayer is an infinite amount of hours. You can play that forever.
That does not
justify
excuse
a 4-hour...
shit single-player campaign.
It's not good. It's not even... the story's poor... I'm not gonna complain too much about the game because I genuinely, if we slag off a game, we genuinely can get in trouble for it.
I'm not. I know I said I don't like first-person games. I'm not ignorant. I've played COD and I've played Medal of Honor. I've played both of them. Is it
BioShock? That's a first-person shooter. That's very good.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm not ignorant. I'm not someone that well, it's not first-person. No, I've played BioShock. I've played bits of BioShock, should I say? We're sort of halfway through.
I've completed it. I can tell you, it gets as good as it gets better.
I've played 2 CODs. Granted, they were on the PlayStation 2. It was a long time ago. And I've played Medal of Honor Frontline and Rising Sun. Right?
And we ain't slagging it off.
I'm not slagging it off at all. It's quite enjoyable.
It's a good genre.
It can be quite enjoyable. I do get a sense of satisfaction blowing people up. I quite like putting bullets in people's heads. It's quite satisfactory. If I'm in a bad mood, I don't mind.
But we don't want that experience. With that experience, shouldn't last 4.5 hours. Now, my point was going to be, I need to finish it off, and you can talk about your multiplayer. Your point was going to be 200 hours in Skyrim, 4.5 hours in Homefront. They are priced. If they were to come out at the same time, they would both be priced at $34, $39, or $44.99 each. They would be the same price as they came out at the same time. Now, I'm not asking for things to be gradiented.
No, because that falls to our disadvantage.
That falls to our disadvantage. We play RPG games. We shouldn't be penalised because that's what we like more than the other. My point being, though, is that surely it's not fair that that's the case. I mean, how much effort must they have to put into Skyrim to get that much time?
Exactly. But, you know, again, the argument is that, like, particularly with racing games, in a racing game you look for good graphics. We've had this discussion, haven't we? Graphics. There's nothing new now in a racing game. I can't think of anything new they can now bring out in a racing game. We've got Formula 1 games, so you can go around, you can be Jenson Button, you can be Lewis Hamilton, you can be Fernando Alonso, you can be whoever the fuck you want. You can sit in their car and you can drive around all the tracks, you can go around Silverstone, everything. Bit of a Formula 1 geek, in case you hadn't noticed. you can do whatever you want. You can, like I say, my little brother, he's on race 11 in the championship. Is it a championship?
I don't know. It's more the last one.
Anyway,
he's doing well.
He's doing well. He's on race 11. He's worked hard.
But how is it different than last year?
It isn't.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's nowhere new racing can go apart from graphics.
Which, to be fair, is nearly at its pinnacle. As far as I thought, from screenshots I've seen so far, in fact, I was reading a mag. Right, here you go. Right, this was an outside opinion. Both of my parents have independently said, not together, not actually at the same time or in the same room, what car's that? And I've said, oh, it's the new Audi. And they've gone, oh, it's quite nice, can I have a look? And they've both
thought it was a real
They
car.
both. My mum went, oh yeah, it's quite nice, isn't it? And I said, yeah, you realise it's from a gaming mag? And she goes, you are? And I was like, well, why do I buy car mags? And she goes, oh yeah, Jesus.
Tell you what,
Dad even
have you
picked
still got that magazine?
I'll find it, yeah.
Right. What we'll do is we'll get that. Both my parents work in the car industry. They get Auto Express and they get they get car mags.
Hold them side by side.
We'll get some comparisons done for you guys.
On top of that, guys, this is the worst part. My dad picked it up, read the review, but not on the game, if that makes sense. Because my dad doesn't read at all. He can read, obviously. He's not a dunce. He's an intelligent bloke, but he doesn't read. He chooses not to. So he looked at, and there's about a 4-page spread, you know. He looked at the first one, looked at the second, you know, just flicking through, and he got to the end. And I saw him give a really weird look because it had looking good. And he was like, well, it's real life, how could it look good, you know? Turn to the next page, and it's fucking Gears of War 3. And he goes, what mag's this? And he shuts it, and he goes, he genuinely didn't realise. Now, it's fair enough, his eyesight isn't as good as ours. But still, he...
But at the end of the day, they're mistaking gaming cars for real cars, which is fair enough. That is the only...
That's the pinnacle. That's as far as racing can go.
I can't see...
Anything else ruins
They've had
it.
hover cars, they've had all that kind of bollocks.
They've had the rewind system that Grid, I think it was Grid introduced. Please don't quote me on that. I just know that Grid was the first game I can think of. You press a button, you can rewind time, and redo that corner. You flew off, and that is becoming the norm. Forza does it.
It's just... You look for different things in different games. My problem is when you're repeating the game over and over again, and basically you are paying 40 quid for the same game.
How much did we work? Sorry guys, 2 seconds. How much did we work out? God, if you
£320.
We worked out in Chester.
It's a very shaky number because obviously we haven't bought all of the series. Guesstimating.
If you were to buy, here you are, guys. Right. I will not argue. You know,
don't say the word. Don't name the game.
No, I will not.
We will get.
No, I know. I will not. I'm not willing, guys. You'll be able to work out what it is, but I'm not going to be able to say the name realistically, because I've slagged off too many developers that is today. Realistically speaking, I don't think that it is a series, as in, like, I don't think that it's a year in, year out thing. A lot of people say said game series is just brought out every year because they want to make money. I'm not going to say that, because I know for a start that a lot of it was planned out beforehand. I think 85% of the games, I've read that statistic, 85% of said series.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Now, said series has... I think it has 8 games in it.
So it's a fairly big series. However, I struggle, having played, like, say, the very first game that they ever brought out, and one of the more recent games, I struggle to see what's different. Apart from, obviously, you upgrading graphics, but as a girl, now don't mean squat to me, right? I don't care. I don't need graphics to make a good game. They're nice, they make things look pretty, it's quite cool, but they don't make a good game. Dungeons of Dreadmore, shite graphics. They're not even, it's fucking pixelated. If you
didn't watch the vlog, if you don't understand what that game is.
It's hilarious.
Minecraft. Yeah.
Right? It's all pixelated. You don't need good graphics to make a good game, right?
And we ain't just talking like Borderlands, which, you know, I'm allowed to praise games, I'm sure. Borderlands, cel-shaded graphics.
I love them. I think they're dead cool.
It's original, it looks cool, right?
But Minecraft,
that was cel-shaded because that's what they wanted the game to feel like. Minecraft genuinely has those graphics because at the time of it being made, that's the best they could handle.
It doesn't bother anyone, and if it does bother you, go and get a texture pack, right?
Yeah.
Who cares? Back to the original point. I've played the very first game in the series, and I've played one of them, not the most recent, but I've played one of the more recent games that have come out at a friend's house.
Can't see the difference.
I don't see how it's been improved gameplay-wise. There's no extension of hours, there's no great change in, you know, it's just going from, it's a lot of repetition. And we worked out, if you were to, we price planned it all from the time it was bought out and the average price of games, came to 320 quid for the same game.
If you bought the whole
If you
series
bought- yeah,
from
if you
brand
bought
new,
all-
it
all
was
the games,
320 quid.
320 quid, and personally, that is 320 quid for
But
one game.
they're on a make because hypothetically speaking, right?